as reactions and the socio-economic costs continue to mount over the Nigerian government's decision to suspend Twitter's operations in the country. Many have wondered if government has not scored an own goal. Even its agencies and officials have been circumspect about deactivating their accounts on the microblogging platform, with the use as a major means of information dissemination to millions of Nigerians. It is clearly a conundrum that not even the government envisage. We will begin this morning with a report on the latest development on the Nigerian government's suspension of Twitter. Yesterday, Nigeria's Foreign Minister Geoffrey Onyema met with ambassadors and high commissioners of the United States, United Kingdom, Canada, Ireland, and the European Union. He confirmed Nigerian government's decision to suspend the platform in the country over threats to national security. Arise political editor Sumna Sambo reports.
Minister of Foreign Affairs Geoffrey Onyema is meeting with these 5 diplomats over their joint statement at the weekend, knocking the Nigerian government for suspending Twitter. He says the action was taken over national security concerns to prevent subversive forces and online platforms from promoting disunity among Nigerians.
When you have that kind of power to manage and facilitate the communication of billions of people around the world, it has to come with responsibilities. We're not saying that Twitter is threatening the country or any such thing like that, and that is not the justification. The justification is, or why we've taken this measure, is to see to what extent we can rebalance these media as forces of good and stop them being used as platforms for destabilization and facilitation for criminality.
The diplomats from the US, UK, Canada, Ireland, and European Union say they understand Nigeria's security concerns, but restate that banning systems of expression, such as Twitter, is not the answer. They say the path to a more secure Nigeria lies in more and not less communication.
Free access to the ability to express oneself is actually very important, and perhaps even more important in troubled times. And so we're glad to hear that they're interacting with Twitter. I will share with you on the question of judicial processes. I will share with you that the topic of the judiciary and judicial processes in Nigeria came up, and many of the things that His Excellency the Minister is referring to, such as inciting or committing violence, are crimes, and which the government of Nigeria has a legitimate interest in identifying and prosecuting those who commit such crimes.
The Nigerian government assured the diplomats that it will continue to uphold the rights of citizens to hold opinions freely, as long as such freedom does not threaten national security. But the government on the same day asked broadcast stations to immediately suspend their patronage of Twitter. The National Broadcasting Commission asked broadcast stations to deinstall Twitter handles and desist from using Twitter as a source of information gathering for news and programs presentation, especially phoning. While taking questions from journalists on when the Twitter suspension will be lifted by the Nigerian government, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Geoffrey Onyema, says he is unsure for now. Sumna Sambu, Arise News.
Well, joining us now from our Abuja studio to discuss the standoff between the federal government and Twitter and its impact on Nigerian lives is Ene Obi, the convener of Nigerian Civil Society Situation Room and country director of ActionAid Nigeria. Good morning, Ene Obi. Thank you for joining us on the morning show this morning. Thank you very much. Well, quickly...
Thank you for having me.
Yes, you're welcome. Yes. Quickly, let me ask you, what do you make of this decision that the Nigerian government has taken to suspend temporarily, I hear, Twitter in Nigeria, and to also go a step further to engage in what many analysts have described as an attempt to further close the civic space?
Thank you very much. I think the decision is more or less an emotional one. Banning Twitter is shrinking the civic space, further shrinking the civic space. And it's shocking because even during the military rule, we're able to challenge the military We're able to hold discussions with the military. We're able to tell them what we feel. And now we are in a democracy. One of the tools that we're using that even benefited the president during his campaigns was Twitter. He was able to air his views, and so many things happened at the time, but nobody talked about the Twitter when you had the advantage. Democracy has its own, and that is that it provides a platform for you to be able to air your views, for you to be able to engage. Does that mean that the presidency cannot engage? We have a president who is not really communicating with the citizens. Because at this point, the president has never held any town hall meeting, any engagement with the media, no media chat for us to be able to know that you can ask him questions and he's able to respond. Town hall meetings, many countries, they have that. And again, just like Twitter pointed out, he's one of the presidents that never, meet with the citizens in terms of having a conversation with the local citizens, the citizens that you guide. The office of the citizen is the highest. What we're asking for, if you want to engage with them, say constructive criticism. Twitter took the post down. They didn't take your handle, and you can engage with them. If you are pained that they have done something before, why didn't you engage with them before taking them down? Did you engage with them, call them to the table? Because Nigeria, we have about 40 million users. In a place like Ghana, where they have about 5 million users, the government is engaging with them. They set up an office there. Engage with them. Tell them, come to Nigeria. We have more people in Nigeria, so that you can pay tax and do a lot of things. So I want to look at it that banning was so, if you are talking like the foreign minister put it, because of reaction to insecurity in Nigeria. So the president actually have power to ban something or to put hammer on certain things. Are we putting hammer on the insecurity that we're having in Nigeria? We have people being killed everywhere. We have people, Oyo yesterday, bloodshed in Zamfara, bloodshed, kidnapping in even Katsina, that is the president's state. And you are not loading security apparatus to that environment. You have been fighting Boko Haram, or so-called the fight. How much of arsenals have you, taken to that place? The kind of security presence we have right now in the southeast and other parts of the country is not like that in the northeast, where we are having serious problem. The problem in Nigeria now is not only the northeast. You are having all over the country now. There is no green, meaning that there is high alert everywhere. This is a country, a government that is negotiating with the bandits, that is negotiating with kidnappers. Look at school children being kidnapped anyhow. Did you hear that the government put a hammer on the insecurity environment that we're having? You have been at war with maybe the bandits. You've been trying to kick them out, but have you declared war in Nigeria? War has not been declared on Boko Haram. But a section of the country you are looking at, you overload the security arms and you say, shoot at sight or whatever, dress them down. I think it calls for a reflection. The president needs to sit back because we are looking at who is ruling the country. Is it the president or the presidency? It's a whole combination. We fought for the unity of this country. This is the time to call for that unity. If you have a child and the child is misbehaving, do you have to, kick out the child from your home? The child will also tell you to leave the father's house. And so what do? So as a father of the nation, we can't take emotional decisions. You lead the bad, the good, and the ugly. But you put your foot down. You say, this is the way I want to go. You hold discussions and also talk to people. And so the banning, we are really concerned about what is happening in the country. The civil society organizations are very, very, we are concerned. We used Twitter during the elections that brought him in. And now elections are coming. We're having election in Anambra State very soon. And we're on the march to 2023. We cannot close the civil space. And I want to say that many of us were, I won't want to say in the trenches, but we struggled for democracy in this country. We were on the streets for democracy to return. This cannot be seen as progress. And so I'm happy that at least they are engaging. The many ambassadors paid a visit yesterday, and it's to say that the international community is not happy. Nigeria has a youth population that is so huge. And they have their means of livelihood on here. A lot of investment, a lot of trading going on. What are we doing to the youth population? Unemployment is at the highest level.
Indeed.
Inflation is at the highest level.
It is.
Don't we have enough to cope with?
We certainly
Thank
do.
you.
We certainly do. If I could come in here, I want to go back to a point that you referred to. The claim by the federal government that the Twitter ban is not some kind of puerile reaction to the president's tweets being deleted, but that they're actually trying to protect the unity you referred to and our national security. The implication there being that Twitter is dangerous as a tool in the hands of people who seek to divide this country. What is your comment on that? Are Nigerians, is that accurate, or are Nigerians being infantilized in a way? Is it that Twitter users, who, no matter how young they are at least teenage and above, are so easily swayed by saber rattlers that they would listen to those voices calling for division by those saber rattlers? What is your thought on that? That Twitter can be used to divide the country?
That Twitter has not been, if you are talking of what is dividing the country right now, we have insecurity all over the country. Is that not divisive enough? The insurgent is telling you that you cannot rule your country. Because if they are in charge everywhere, then what are you leading? And you are looking at Twitter ban, you know, that is rather a uniting force, because people are able to, is an avenue for you to air your views and to also debate and do really constructive criticism, debates going on, you know, a lot of things going on for the young people. They are able to be advised, you know, on Twitter, and then you bring it on board and you make some excuses, you know, about some people using it as divisive. They say they took the other posts of, IPOP down. But what we are saying is, you have a Ministry of Communication. You also have information. And so if they need to manage the things that you communicate with or the things that are incoming, shouldn't it be an opportunity for them to be engaging? So it's not a time to say you are bringing it down because you couldn't engage. Unity of the country, you say, arise, O compatriot. Every one of us in the civil society, we work. Sometimes we work 24 hours to meet our own area, because we know that the government cannot do all. Quality of citizenship depends. You have a lot of corruption that is going on in the country that is like a cancer worm. You have not come down heavily on them. You know, a lot of cases in court, the Ministry of Justice, I don't know what they're doing. Nigeria right now, the courts have not sat for two months. And it's okay in Nigeria. The Attorney General of the Federation is saying, you know, anyone who is using Twitter, they are going to go on and, they are going to prosecute without law. There is no law about Twitter. There is no law that allows the prosecution. How do you make such pronouncements? And so it's not a jungle environment. We are in a civilized environment. And so the government should engage with the citizens, engage with civil society, and ask, you know, what are the things, what is the way forward? We have all been in it together. The civil society organizations fought for democracy in this country. Many of the politicians today do not know how that happened. But I can tell you because I was involved. And so, way forward, we call on the federal government to rescind this decision and constructively engage with Twitter. And also to say that they have the latitude. Because we are now beginning to think, so the government has this power, really. It means they can do something positive for Nigeria. Face the insecurity in Nigeria. Deal with it. Because we have the call on Fulanis. Everybody is looking at the Fulanis. I've known Fulanis since I was a child. And they have been very friendly people. When you have criminal elements, go after them and deal with them. How many herdsmen have you found that they have been arrested, and prosecuted and what have you. And so let's go against, and if it is in the southwest, southeast, if there are some criminals, you go after them. And when you talk of banditry, the state is guaranteed by the provisions of the Constitution that they can defend their states against armed robbery, against banditry, against issues of kidnapping. But when they raise a staff, then you go after them. The blood that is flowing across the country needs to be stopped. And it can be stopped by the president. If he can do this, it means he can do a lot of other things that he's capable of.
Okay, I mean, very well said, Ene. What's your reaction to circular issued yesterday by the NBC, that's the Broadcasting Commission in Nigeria, that simply says all media houses should uninstall or deinstall was the exact term they did use yesterday, Twitter, because it's a very, very veritable tool for dissemination of information by media houses. It has become a source that everybody quotes in media today. Twitter, it was said on Twitter. That's where you can get an authentic public release. I mean, what's your take on the NBC saying that?
In the civil society, we demand for transparency and accountability. This is not a lawless country. Why are you asking them to deactivate their or take down their whatever, their relationship with Twitter? Under what law are you advising them to take down all of the things that you are talking about? You don't have a law. If you think we have the time, if you are so wounded by wanting the broadcasting houses and all of that, have you engaged? Do you have any law backing you to stop the broadcasting houses? Or are we using lawlessness? I want to remind them that before we had mobile phones in Nigeria, most of the countries around Nigeria had mobile phones. Nigeria didn't have it. The Nigerian government frustrated, that was under, Obasanjo regime. They frustrated a lot of people from coming in. All the mobile companies, the MTN and the other mobile companies, I've even forgotten their names now. They were coming in. I bought a line for 59,000 because the license, to get them the license, they increased the money so much because only the few rich were having 090. That's the mobile phones that you have, have to buy BlackBerry and so on and so forth. They frustrated the coming in so that the poor man, because they felt that the poor should not have a telephone, when even fish sellers in the Republic of Benin were already having mobile phones. But the technology, the world is a global village now. You cannot close the mouth of people. It's like when you have a boiling water and there is a lid, it will pop up. So it is for us to look at what is happening. If you think you can close Twitter, a lot of people are still using Twitter. And now you want to prosecute them. And I'm happy that at least the senior advocate of Nigeria, some of our friends in the coalition against COVID-19 and beyond says, arrest them, we will follow you to the court. But there is going to be frustration because what they are showing is that this is a lawless environment. And we condemn in no uncertain terms the reaction of NBC, to try to clamp down on media houses and to clap. After the Nigerian government was using, this environment. And they are saying, we want digital economy. This is a country that has invested so much to digital economy. So which way Nigeria? They need to rescind that. And, on behalf of the team that we lead, we ask them to rescind it because we will challenge them and we will continue challenging until they rescind their act. But we are asking them to go to the table and start constructive engagement.
Well, in the case of the National Broadcasting Commission, in the statement that was issued, it was relying on the NBC Act, under which it is given powers to regulate the broadcast industry. And so many claims are made under Section 2, Section 3, and Section 5 of that particular act. But let me ask you, are you surprised that this has happened, considering the fact, did it come to you as a shock, considering the fact that before now, there have been issues about social media bill. Government have been hemming and hawing about fake news. They've been talking about hate speech. Were you shocked? Are you surprised? Because you keep saying, look, you sounded as if you are surprised that we have reached this point in Nigeria.
My surprise comes to the terms that when you believe in people and they do something, they go the other way. And you begin to think, am I insane, or are some people doing something that is, that they're not thinking about? The issue of the hate speech came, and we all faced it together. We reminded them of who is making the hate speech. If you now bring the law of the hate speech, if you look at the Twitter handle of Mr. President, if you look at that post, who is making the hate speech? What we are saying is that constructively engage with your citizens. Talk to them when there is something. We should be able to challenge the government. The government should challenge us. That is in the democracy, in an environment where you can talk to each other. This is a civilized environment. The shrinking space is caused by people who are not sure of themselves. We ask, I think Nigerians are some of the easiest people, in terms of leadership. Look at the country and look at the roads, the road network in the country. There are so many things that we can do together. You can't go to your village anymore. The insecurity is there. The roads are so bad. And you can do a lot of things by having, even in the richest countries in the world, they collect toll gates. Maintenance of the road, you can do it in a very simple form. Are we lacking in terms of thinking? So it's shocking to me, because it's like, we have too many things. You are looking at problems here, but you run this way and you go and face another direction. We are calling and demanding leadership from the political class, not only the presidency, but also the parliament that is sitting on their seats. Some of them cannot even go to their villages anymore. And it's okay. It's not okay. We are having children that are being adopted, adopted every day, and you are not saying something about it. Children are in the bush, but we have the communication, for example, where you can track where phone calls are coming from. So what is happening to us? We don't have satellite anymore. Nigeria has a satellite. And so we need to be able to face the issues. I'm not facing about hate speech and all of that. Let's face the president and tell him what he's doing wrong. It's either those that are advising him, because what is the issue of having advisors all over the place? And we are wasting a lot of money on advisors, and you are not taking what they are telling you, or the advisors are ruling or leading instead of the president of the country. Who is leading the country anyway? We demand to even see our president engaging, going to the community and engaging. Look at the last time, when we lost the very dynamic and indefatigable, chief of staff. The president was not there, and they never, at his burial, you are the commander-in-chief. We lost a cream of Nigerians, those who are really willing to fight, insurgents in the country, and you were not at the burial. And there was no explanation. The vice president was not there. That's a neglect. And to say that we pay very little attention to the worth of lives of Nigerians, we need to go back in time. And what you don't pay attention to will hurt you. And we say, look at the kind of poverty that we have in Nigeria. And then you are blocking Twitter now, which is going to pour more people into poverty because the economic cost is so huge. And you cannot provide jobs for Nigerians. Many of them, their children are abroad. And so we need to be together. As a Nigerian, I'm not leaving this country for anybody. I have taken a job outside the country before because I wanted to take a job. We need to prepare Nigerians. If we have workforce that is so much Nigeria cannot utilize, just enhance their capacity so that they can go on regular migration. What we frown against is irregular migration when Nigerians suffer. The quality of a Nigerian now outside, look at how people behave towards Nigerians. We need our leadership back. The mismanagement and the mistrust, we need to come back together. The unity of Nigeria is what we all fight for. And as civil society organizations, we believe in one Nigeria, and we will fight for one Nigeria. If you think you cannot lead, you're lacking ideas, and you cannot bring people together to think about it, then that's your problem. We've had so many, conferences in this country. They're calling for, when General Sani Abacha came in, he called for a conference. And we were not happy with some of our colleagues at that time because before Abacha came in, he called Campaign for Democracy, which were members, Campaign for Democracy, leaders, a segment of their leaders, and asked them not to demonstrate when they come into power. That's to tell you that the civil society was so strong that even the military want to come in, they consult with the civil society. And that was what led to the break of a Campaign for Democracy in February, 1994. So we need to be careful not to pull the carpet and, from where you walk through, and we need to also reconfirm ourselves as Nigerians. You say, arise, O compatriot. We sing the national anthem. We don't cram the national anthem. We don't listen to it. They're playing a tape. We sing the national anthem from our hearts.
We do indeed.
We are stakeholders in this country. We believe in Nigeria.
We certainly do. Now, the Foreign Minister, Godfrey Onyama, and I have to read exactly what he said, he gave a condition for the reinstallment of Twitter in Nigeria. The condition would be responsible use of the social media, and that really has to be it. What does responsible use of social media look like, and who gets to decide that? How is this different from censorship?
I think for Nigerians, I find that a bit offensive, because what you're saying is that Nigerians are irresponsible, and it should not be so. Why did you not engage with them all this while? As a foreign minister, you have the foreign ministry, you have the Ministry of Information, you have communication, all combined. What has been your negotiation with Twitter? What has been your negotiation with even all the social media, environment? You are preparing a government for digital economy, and you cannot engage. Well, and I think I find it, is a bit of censorship. You should not gag the mouth of the people, because that is what is happening in government.
Well, on that,
they are bloated with so many advisors that block them from hearing the real, story of Nigerians. They tell them what they want to hear, or what will be sweet to their ears, but not what they should hear. And when a government is blocked and the people are singing praises to you, you will never get the truth about where you are leading.
On that note,
the president may think that everything is okay. Well, everything is not okay.
On that note,
and it's because of what they tell him, is he listening to them? And I think we need to really be careful there. I find that really offensive.
On that note, I'm sure there will be many of our viewers who will also agree with you. Thank you very much for joining us on the morning show. Thank you very much indeed.